There are two brands of cars that people often say are missing from here.
Do I know them?
Think about it. Which two like really prominent sports car brands?
This one.
That's one of them.
Not missing because there's this and there's like half of a 914.
Half of one back there.
There's
What's the other one?
Over that way.
Also not mine.
Also not yours. Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what? I genuinely, when I started that, I wasn't thinking that these two brands were represented here.
Lamborghini.
Lamborghini machine.
Yeah, the washing machine. Lamborghini.
No, that's my friend's Gallardo Spider. But this is relevant because when we were on the big tour that we did recently, when Puppy and I went to France, to the Alps, with the Purangusangue.
The SUV-ish.
The kind of SUV.
Super
obviously.
SUV, hyper SUV, in a way.
Super SUV?
I think that's a good way.
Obviously, we talked about what would be the better car for the trip. The most common frequently suggested answer was Urus 6, and we recently had the Urus 6 GT here.
We tried it. There's a tractor. That's a noisy tractor.
That's a noisy tractor, the Urus 6 GT. Amusingly then, straight after the Urus 6 GT with its 4-litre twin-turbo V8, we then had the Bentley Continental GTC Speed here with the hybridised version of that same engine. There's a really loud tractor outside.
Something must be being picked up. Maybe my car's being picked up by a tractor outside.
This is the funny thing about having like closed shutters and no windows.
We can't see what's going on, we can just hear it.
We can just hear it. If we're in the offices, we've got cameras and stuff outside.
Where
anyway, my point was we then had the hybridised version of the same engine. There's another brand from the same group that also has a hybridised version of the same engine.
And it might have.
And it might also have a Lamborghini badge on the front. And that car in question happens to be one of the cars that you all suggested as a competitor to this, along with one other, the DBX, which also has a 4-litre twin turbo. There's a theme here. It's a different
engine.
one. It's a different one. It's not the same
engine. It's clearly a good engine.
Anyway, the Urus SE, the hybrid version of the Urus. And Lamborghini have very kindly arranged for us to go and pick one up.
Go on, here you go, here's the keys.
Boom, just like that. No, in this case, we're going to head...
Tractor's around there now.
What is going on? In this case, we're going to head HRON Lamborghini Hatfield.
Next door to Ferrari Hatfield.
Next to Hatfield, Ferrari Hatfield, the HRON like campus where you have Topaz and everything else, where we actually went for our friend's Dorato delivery.
Yes.
The very highly spec'd Saturn SE30. Did I go and you didn't go?
No, did you go for a Dorato, but also the STO?
The STO, the grey
60th?
STO 60th, yes. Okay, so that was also at Lamborghini Hatfield. So in theory, there's going to be one waiting for us. I don't have a clue what the spec is.
I hope it's bright.
There's no Urus here in the collection, but probably since, well, literally since day one, I've been being told that I should have an Urus. So we're going to go drive an Urus on English roads. Now, I have actually driven, the only key I've got on me is the M2.
That's the one I need.
We're going to take the M2. We're going to take the M2 to get there. The only, no, what was I going to say? I'm so confused today.
Sorry, I don't know. I've just kind of...
The Urus SE, I drove an Urus SE in Florida at Lamborghini Broward. That was my first experience of it. And I also then drove an Urus Performante, which was obviously the more hardcore version of the previous version. The SE has a lot of facelift updates.
Yeah, like pre-facelift, facelift.
More on that later. So what I want to go and do now is go pick up an Urus, bring the Urus back here. No, go do a loop, enjoying the Urus, and then finally get an Urus at the Shmuseum to see what it looks like here, and go dig about for some stuff.
Hold on.
Have we had one here before? Oh, Yanni's.
Yanni's matching...
To the STO?
STO spec Urus, yeah, that was here.
I'm still going to play with the finally we're going to have an Urus here. I'm rolling with it.
Should we just end the video now? That's it, game over.
And Yanni's was kind of this colour.
Yeah, well, a little bit.
His Revuelto is kind of this colour.
Pinker.
Anyway, I don't currently own a Lambo. We're going to Lambo. We're going to go and pick one up, and we're going to bring it back here. Sound like a plan?
Let's do it. To the M2.
To the M2. I thought we were about to be spoiled to go in your car, Brad.
Not today.
Not today?
Nope, you're not that lucky.
I have to squeeze in. Someone has to squeeze into the back of the M2.
Shotgun.
Shotgun?
That's you.
So that's me. That's all right. I don't mind. Look,
let's film you getting in.
Shmurella the cow air fresheners in the Shmuseum 50 eBay shop.
Go on then, pass me that. You squeeze in. I want to see it from the outside view.
I can do this easily. Look, the seat goes forward. Magic. It's quite warm in here. It's odd because it's cold.
Is it?
It's like 14 degrees.
Whatever, the sun I'm feeling my back right now is lovely. And that's why I've just found my sunnies.
That wasn't too bad.
Nicely done. Oh, I just got gapped.
Brad. The car is a whole lot louder in the back than the front.
Yeah, you're hearing more?
Like, I mean, it makes sense because the exhausts are obviously kind of here somewhere rather than wherever else. We're in M1.
Does it sound good from the back?
And M1 isn't even in the noisiest, it goes to M2.
Yeah, I'm not going in M2 though.
But I'm going to point out, no, actually, I'm going to shut up while we accelerate onto the motorway. Nice. I'm going to point out that you did step in this and forget you weren't in your 340i in Eco Pro.
Yeah, I forgot the difference between new generation BMW and older generation. My throttle's a lot softer.
Not quite as stabby.
Yeah.
It's also an M car.
Yes, true.
Does that upset 340i? No, because it's not an M car.
No, it's a baby. It's an M Lite.
It's an M Lite, okay.
Yeah, I just kind of forgot that you have to be a bit more smooth and a bit more gentle in this thing.
Look, traffic jam.
Where? Oh.
Up ahead.
Well, we're in an M car, so we can do M car stuff.
What are you saying?
I don't know. So shoulder, gumball lane.
You're going to bring this back home. When we take the Urus. What happened? Did you hit them? Oh no.
Yeah, you're going to take the Urus for a drive. I'm going to get the luxury of not going in the Urus and going in the M2. Is that luxury?
No, you can go in it later.
Yeah. Because I have work to do.
There's no traffic. It lied.
Well, not yet.
Not yet.
I just don't trust it at all.
We just got to wait and see.
Okay, I'm saying there's no traffic.
I don't think there's any traffic. I think there might have been a hold up to clear something from the road earlier, something like that.
Yeah, temporary traffic.
What does it have? Like five
that, and it's red, which means it's meant to be like heavy. I think it's heavy traffic.
Like 5 people have said the traffic's really bad here, but 5 people have been wrong.
No.
Anyway, we're only 8 minutes away from Lamborghini Hatfield. Nice. I see what you did there. What were you just saying?
I just got roasted.
Well, I said these are really good, and I said Brad should get some for his cars, and then I said, well, he doesn't have an M.
Oh.
Yeah, that's fine because I don't want them anyway.
You don't like the
No.
things that stop your keys falling down the side of your seat?
Or my popcorn.
Or your popcorn. Your popcorn is a very important thing.
Yes, when I'm definitely eating popcorn in my car. The keys thing I understand because sometimes I wear shorts or trousers that they do fall out of, but normally I just find them.
It's okay. It works.
I'm okay with just finding them, to be honest.
Whoop.
Yeah, hold on, Tim.
A bit stabby now.
I'm really getting roasted. Tell you what, next time you guys can walk.
We'll take an Uber.
All that. And you think that'll be less aggressive and
no,
less,
it won't. It will be even more
be worse than me? I don't think so.
You're getting MSRT.
Yeah, that's an MSRT, but that's a blue I've not seen before on the previous gen.
It's kind of purpley.
Maybe
Purpley. It is purple.
I don't know.
Do you think it's wrapped?
I would almost go with wrap because I think that was never an option, but maybe it is.
It's not the same colour as the new purple.
No, the new purple's definitely different. It's like Cadbury's purple on the new one.
The age-old question: what's going to be outside? Probably there is an Urus SE. Wait, there's an SF90.
Is that
blue SF90?
Well, I thought it was purple.
TDF. Nice. F12 TDF.
Do I need to go left to Ferrari first? Oh, nice colour on this.
I think that is the one they recently sold. It was in the showroom when we came before. And I was a little concerned about there being 2 blue SF90s for sale.
Should we go left and look at Ferrari first?
No, we probably should go find. Is there an Urus SE sitting outside somewhere? Possibly Italian plate?
I can't see one.
No, lots of Lotus
Not that I can
Electras.
see. Oh, look. Dodici Cilindri.
The wrong Italian for today.
Yep.
The wrong Italian.
What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm going to park right here.
But I meant, are you just going to drive off and let us out?
Oh, probably, yeah. I could have done that at the door. Yep, I'm not going to know what the car is. You can show me it later.
Thank you.
We need your microphone though.
Oh, yeah.
Mike is staying with us today.
Have a mic.
Have Mike.
Goodbye.
Hi, Mike.
I look forward to seeing it.
Thanks, Brad.
Adios.
See you in a bit.
Ciao, I mean.
Ciao. Ciao, ciao. I wouldn't be surprised if the car is lurking here somewhere. Bentleys, Lambos, kind of blinded, but we'll figure it out. We
See
will
what they have
figure
in
it
the
out.
showroom. I don't think I've ever been in this.
Really?
Lamborghini. No, I've not.
Oh, well, it's quite a nice area.
Oh, that's
We'll
cool.
come and figure out who we've got to go say hello to.
Yeah.
We've got to take a quick run through. STO. I kind of miss my STO, but I kind of like also that it's being enjoyed now. The
I was
new
about to
owner.
ask.
It's on its third owner, and the new owner has been taking it on road trips. It's actually out in Spain, or it has just been in Spain.
It's not a practical car to take on road trips.
Not really. These are surprisingly practical. Revuelto, of course, because you've got front luggage, you've got storage space behind the seats. Do you like satin yellow?
You know that I'm not the biggest fan of yellow.
It's true. And satin makes it even more kind of out there. I presume that's an Urus about to be delivered. We've got the Huracan Evo, we've got the Starato, we've got the STO. But I want to come outside. Come with me this way. Because we've got a bit of a lineup out here. And we touched on this when we first drove. What's that? Oh, look. Evo Spider makes its way down the
beautiful
road. We touched on this when we first drove the SE at Lamborghini Broward and the different generations, because you have the Urus S, the Urus Performante, and then the Urus SE, which is kind of like a facelift. So the Urus S and the Urus Performante have a more aggressive fascia to them, but of course it's still the original model as opposed to the completely updated car. The biggest giveaway between Performante is the exposed carbon hood, whereas the S, no, that is a Performante. Is that a Performante? Yes, that is a Performante.
I'm sure you can have it without the exposed
You can.
carbon hood.
I wanted to get you to spin around the other way. You're kind of backtracking down the line.
No, I just didn't want to film the yellow car.
Something wrong with yellow cars then? Anyway, we've got the Performante as well on that side. I think they're grabbing the keys. So if we probably head round towards the front, the car is going to be waiting. Should we go and
Exciting. Let's
grab
go
it
have a
and
look.
go give it a go? It's actually quite interesting because this is the original Urus, then S, then Performante. So this is where obviously it launched 5 or 6 years ago now. The OG. Note how the rear of the car looks, because this is what's changed the most in terms of the plate and in terms of the rear grille. If we have a nosy inside as well, look at the screens. You've got the slightly smaller screens and the way they're positioned above the tamburo. Take that in because we'll go and compare how it looks on the newer car. Standing in the shade, it's kind of cold.
Oh, it's kind of
Should we go find it?
Yes.
Let's get it on in and go and see what we can find in terms of an Urus here at HRON. In the blinding sunshine
it's really
out
bright.
here, it's really bright. Oh, it's Italian registered. There's some construction work going on. Typical. Can't beat it. This is Arancio Egon SE Hybrid. Now, I was just talking about the rear design. Have a look at the back now that we've just been discussing it. It's got this Gallardo style rear grille sitting up here, and then the plate used to be on the tailgate, and that's now moved down. So the boot release is up here rather than being down at the bottom. Inside, hope we've got the right key here. Inside, check this out, completely changed with the central screens and this much larger display up top, and the shuffling of the position of the lower screens, because of course now you also have all of the different driving modes, because it starts in hybrid. Like the Conti GT, this has a 25.9 kilowatt hour battery, about 800 horsepower in total. Very, very quick, about 40-50 miles of electric driving range. And it looks quite bright and bold in this color, doesn't it?
I really like it in this color. It looks beautiful in the sunshine. Really pops and it's very
tell you
glittery.
what, the metallic sparkle in it in today's light is on point. It's kind of like the Viola Bast STO.
Yeah, very much.
Like it really, really looks the part there.
Stunning.
I always kind of find it quite fun when you drive an Italian registered right-hand drive car
It's very
and people
weird.
wonder how that works. It's not that it's a car from Italy, like going back to Italy, it just belongs to the Lamborghini factory. So they build it and it will eventually be sold to the UK market. So a bit like Wambarn's STO, that was a right-hand drive Italian registered factory STO in Viola Bast. Anyway, the probably funny thing with this is that when you do get in, do you know what it sounds like when you start it?
Let me go to the back.
Well, I'm not sure you're going to be that impressed.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, it's on. Shall I actually start it? Let me put it in sport mode. It's not bad, is it?
Yeah.
I think when we drove it in Broward, we were impressed by the sound.
We were really impressed by how it sounds, especially in the cabin. It's not quiet.
It is quite funny having literally driven a couple of the same engine cars, one after another. Should we go take it for a drive?
Let's go.
And go get ourselves comfortable and see what it's like. You know, in the previous clip, the engine was running. That's some continuity fail by us.
Well, it's a Shmuseum, we're not a Shmee video.
We just filmed the real Instagram content, social content.
1 second, I need to put my seatbelt on.
It's funny, isn't it, when you get in a car like this and you forget for a moment that it turns on in electric.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Just that, like, what's going on? I probably need to shuffle my microphone.
My mic has disappeared.
The things you don't normally see because it normally just happens in the background and no one worries about it.
And we sometimes film these clips like a few times because of things like that.
Half the fun of this channel, just to understand what really goes on. Let's go noisy. Cool. So I've just been having a quick induction tour to make sure that I remember everything, because getting in and out of lots of different cars always gives you obviously stuff you need to learn.
Explain it to us.
First thing I always will do is just make sure I'm completely happy with mirrors and stuff like that. It's an obvious thing, but when you get into a new press car, where's the hazard warning button? Where are the mirrors? Get everything comfortable, because if you just start driving, then you've got to find those things when you're on the road. Basically, this is normal performance. If you press that, it's recharge, so it will keep the engine running to charge up the battery. Make sure it's as full as possible. If you go that way, it brings you straight back to EV. So the car is still on now.
So weird.
In EV. It is weird, but I think you kind of get used to it. Backwards to reverse on the, what do you call the selector thing? So pull the paddle to go into first.
It's a Prindum, not a Prindle. I don't know if you know that reference.
Prindum?
Yes.
Because it has manual instead of launch.
Yes. Well, there's this episode of the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
I'm taking the wrong turning.
Oh, now we have to go past the Ferrari dealer.
Puro, SF90, Roma Spider, 296, GTS, feels like our garage. Literally those four. Sammy here is like, what are you doing?
He must be really confused. Also, we can't get through.
How you doing?
You've got a nice pista here.
It is a beautiful piece.
But you're probably doing a photo shoot and we're wasting your time.
No, you're all good. You're all good. I'm nearly done. How you doing?
Yes, all good.
I'm
Sorry.
used to seeing you in Lambos already.
No, nor am I. Carefully reversing through a series of Ferraris.
Well, it's a good way to test the reversing capabilities and camera, right?
Yeah, I'm going to borrow the space here purely for the turning around. I'm not parking here, do not panic. I quite like that you pull the upshift for engaging gear on it. You don't have to use anything in the centre. It is a lovely day.
Oh, it's brilliant.
So, off we go. Where are we going to go? That's the question. Do you know what? I've got a plan. I know where I want to go.
Good.
I want to drive some dual carriageway.
Yep.
So we'll go this direction. You'll figure it out in a second. And then I would like to go and drive on some twisty roads, because while we have driven this car, the environment in which we drove it was not the best for the dynamic side of things.
Just say it. We drove it in Florida and it's got
we drove it
flat
in
and straight roads.
Florida is not the best for driving. You go past JLR, past Aston Martin, past McLaren. I do love this whole,
It's so
I'm going to
cool.
call it campus, everything together. Is that a new Vantage? I know that's a DB12. Artura. It works really well. So electric in here, obviously you have quite a decent range from the 25.9 kilowatt hour battery. It's about 192 PS of electric power. Nobody's going to pretend that's a massive number, especially not in a pretty big heavy car. You actually feel that a bit of the weight of this. I think you can't get away from that in new cars. They're all so much bigger and heavier than previous gen cars. Obviously you have regen from braking, from the combustion engine, or plug-in charging. So we can plug it into the C-Tech when we get back to base. I wonder if there's a screen that shows me exactly how much, what I want to see is exactly how much range we have out of the different sources. I don't know if it has one per se.
Well, I'm sure there are lots of screens to look at and figuring it all out.
Yeah, there are tons of different things. The ADAS screen system, the telemetry.
Ooh.
Is this an SUV with a track telemetry system? That would be brilliant. It actually is. It has a lap timer.
That's pretty
perfect.
cool.
Dynamic widgets. So obviously Revuelto and Temerario have the widgets that you slide and swipe across
I remember.
from one screen to the next. So we've got dynamic widgets in here. I always like this kind of thing where you can have tyre pressures, just know that your tyres aren't dead. And
Especially
then,
after you drove through something where you're just like, oh, that might have been borderline.
police, we've not done anything wrong, I promise. Although they probably see a bright orange Italian registered Lambo and go,
Let's turn around.
yeah, what's happened there? It doesn't give you a split mileage. It tells you electric plus combustion is 376 from here.
Okay.
I would have liked to have seen the exact breakdown,
each,
like the
yeah.
Bentley. I think that did a nice job of that.
Maybe there's a separate screen for that.
Yeah, obviously if you go to Strada, then into Sport, you can go all the way into Corsa and have, and manual.
Yeah.
Sounds cool. This is an annoying roundabout that takes a long time to get round, but it does have a nice dual carriageway the other side of it.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
your watch really clashes with the orange of the
Does it?
interior.
Does a pink swatch not go with an orange interior? Should have worn an orange one. I didn't actually know what colour car we were picking up
That's
today.
true.
So this is Arancio Egon. Now it's called the Urus SE in English, but in Italian, your Italian's better than mine.
My Italian
It's
is
the
awful.
Urus SE.
Yeah,
Urus SE.
Duolingo doesn't teach me the alphabet.
And it's hybrido, hybrid. Lamborghini Urus SE hybrido.
I think you pronounce that really nicely.
I'm trying. Oh, I like this as well. In Corsa, at the top of my rev counter, you get this blue line that comes across the top.
Oh, yeah.
We won't get it right now, but at the very top, which effectively shows you the boost that you're using. Have a look at it now as the light goes green. At the very top, that's your e-power delivery above the rev counter. So mostly at the very slow speeds off the line.
It's getting a move on.
I think this is really quick. But interestingly, there's just been this Car Wow drag race, right?
Yeah.
Yanni brought his new Urus SE to the drag strip with Matt Watson, with everyone.
What did they race?
It was the RSQ8, the Purangusangue, and the Hybrid Cayenne. And bizarrely, this wasn't the fastest, or his wasn't the fastest. Now I'm wondering if that's to do with like a low mileage car that wasn't properly run in, whether for some reason it wasn't giving full power. I mean, I'm not going full whack right now because the engine's still a bit cold, but you can tell that this thing's seriously potent. It's also in Corsa mode, quite aggressive. I'm going to put it back into like Strada. Yeah, it softens up. You felt how bumpy that is in Corsa. Obviously, the stiffer you set up the suspension, the better it handles in a performance like track environment.
But then some of these roads in the UK have, they don't really need stiff suspensions, please.
No, well, where we're going is my favourite kind of bumpy, put a car to the test type road, which probably unsettles it a little bit, but we'll see. It's the same kind of roads we drove the RS6 GT on.
That's probably going to be a really interesting comparison then.
In many ways, yeah. It's a very different suspension setup because obviously this has fancy adaptive suspension as opposed to, well, the RS6, not like it doesn't have fancy suspension, but it's manually adjustable coilovers, whereas this is much more set up to be compliant and comfortable. But this is really and truly bringing people along for our first drive, our test drive in the car.
I really like how you
Learning
can
it.
see that pop-off colour from the hood bonnet.
And I like, as cheesy as it is, the Bang & Olufsen speakers, the way the tweeters rise up from the grille, from the dash, sorry, when you turn it on. In here, you've obviously got like Anima, which is where you can see the different settings that I was talking about earlier.
Lots of combinations possible.
Yeah, the standard touchscreen problem that it's hard to find the right buttons, although at least we do have those physically.
That's a weird place to pull out of.
Not the easiest on a dual carriageway. Driver assist stuff, because obviously if we go over the speed limit, it's going to be going beep, 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 beep. This is always the first thing. Is there a speed thing here? I don't know, but I don't want to be too distracted looking for it. That's half the problem with these systems. It's like, what button do I need to press? Where is it? Let's drive in sport. Drop some gears. Are we still in manual? Yeah, we're still in manual. It's a lot louder in Corsa than it is in sport. That makes a surprising amount of difference.
But it's nice to have...
Where are we going to go? We're going to go here?
Are we
I think
going
we're going to go here.
It's good, I think, to have a proper distinction between the different driving modes, that they're not too similar.
I need to open up some space.
Yeah, that's one of the things that one doesn't really see on a Shmi 150 reviews, how often we have to wait until there's a gap in traffic.
Yeah, a lot of driving is pausing like this between clips, just waiting a moment, letting the traffic flow away, and then being able, obviously, on a nice bit of road to kind of play a little bit of catch up. It definitely feels big. In some ways, it's like the Bentley in that respect, because you're carrying around this very heavy battery. Whoa!
That
moved the whole car sideways. You're carrying around this really big heavy battery at the back.
How heavy is this car, do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head. It's combined. Well, the way I described it when we drove the Bentley was that it's like, in some ways, driving a pickup truck, I'm just gonna let this guy come through.
Yeah, that's a bit narrow.
It's like driving a pickup. Oh goodness me! In the sense that it just feels like, in some ways, the back half of the car is disconnected from the front. I mean, it's quick. It's really quick. It's notably quicker than the Urus 6. I mean, it should be. It's another 170 horsepower, and with the electric, it's the earliness with which you get that horsepower.
It's the beauty of the hybrid system, right? And one thing I don't really understand is every time you show, because I run your short form content, right? And I see the comments when you show a new car and say it's hybrid. People are like, oh, I hate EVs, and I think they haven't really. Oh, this is also really scary.
Tractor, truck, blind corner.
What I meant to say is they haven't really, I think, grasped the idea of that. The hybrid system in cars like this is not meant for you to, I don't know, commute. You can.
Well, it is in this.
Yeah, you
this
can.
This is a 50 mile. Why is this stopped here?
I mean, this shouldn't be here, but it's the instant torque and the performance you get with it.
In something like the SF90, yes.
Yeah,
W1,
maybe.
Valhalla, etc. Oh, we're just driving through the trees. But in
this,
a car like this and the Bentley, they are made to commute. The idea is that you go back to base and you plug it in and you have 50 miles that you can drive electrically, because the percentage of journeys that are done that are within, let's say, a 50 mile total driving distance is very high. So the idea then is that you're, goodness me, what's going on today? Oh, that was really narrow. Yeah, unfamiliar car. Even at 30 miles an hour, still terrifying.
I just looked up the weight.
Yep.
What do you think?
2,400.
So it says curb weight of 2,505 kilograms.
Yeah, so the dry will be about 2,350 and curb of 2.5 tons. It's crazy, really, that, isn't it? That's a heavy, heavy thing. That is a lot of weight to be lugging around. I mean, that's what horsepower overrides. If you've got so much power, it doesn't really matter how heavy it is.
Do you feel like it disguises its weight really well?
No, I'm sorry to say. You know, there was an era of cars coming out when they were going up from like 1,300, 1,400 to 1,700, 1,800 kilos. And at that time, they did hide that they were that much heavier. But the problem is, because you have such a concentrated lump of weight, in this case at the back with the battery system, you can't get away from it being there. Now, let's be realistic. What do most buyers of an Urus use it for? Daily driving. Just running errands, right? It's not. Probably if you have an Urus, you have another car, maybe a sports car, maybe another Lamborghini supercar, right? So, is goal number one the dynamic side of it? And yes or no? Or is it focus on being a cool ultimate daily? You know, you're sat high up on the road, you've got great visibility, latest technology, creature comforts, lots of things to play with and just enjoy mucking about with. You know, the latest hybrid powertrain, meaning that you do have this electric range. I think the idea of the car is so much more than its drive, and this partly brings us to the Purangusangue topic, because obviously a lot of people said Urus over Purangusangue for a trip to the mountains, to the Alps. But I will add, from my perspective, this driving wise, it sounds great, but it doesn't sound like a naturally aspirated V12. Obviously it's a twin turbo V8, and dynamic to drive, the steering isn't quite the same, the weight distribution isn't quite the same. You've got this split between the heavy engine up front and heavy engine in the back, and that was my first experience. So this is a supercar of SUVs, but the Purangusangue isn't an SUV. It's a practical front mid GT car.
Yeah, it's that lifted 812 type thing.
Yes,
right?
so they're different. They're not trying to compete in the same segment, in the same space. The fun thing here, second gear, you holding on?
I'm holding on.
Go. That probably took a little bit longer than I expected to give us power. I mean, we're in sport, not in Corsa. The shifts are a nice little punch. Woohoo! That's narrow.
And it had a nasty curb where we just were.
Yeah, it had a very nasty curb, and the car felt a little bit wayward with the ruts in the ground. I like coming to these kinds of roads because they really find the flaws in a car. It's not like you find in Germany or pretty much anywhere else, but we just have all these roads that aren't great here in England. So they're good for discovering what's bad about a car. And whether it, like, the steering wheel just kind of yanked me to the right there, whether it's gonna find any of these flaws, you know, don't get me wrong, this is a fun thing. I drove, do you remember when we were at Alexander's Prestige and we drove the Urus Performante with Andrew?
Yeah.
Well, I drove it with Andrew.
You drove
right?
it, I was
that was
showroom.
that was the only time I'd driven the Performante until this little back-to-back run we did.
Yeah.
I think I'm the purist, right? I prefer the without the extra weight, slightly edgier feel of it. The Performante felt really quite enjoyable. It felt like what I had hoped the Urus would be. It disguised some of the heavy nose weight of the car, because it does have a lot of nose weight. I think what's going on at the moment, you don't necessarily see it, is that the lane assist is obviously seeing the lines, and because the road is super narrow, we're about as wide as it, so at some points I have to cross the lines. Obviously there are none right here,
And then it tries to pull you back?
Yes, it's trying to pull it back, and I'm not particularly enjoying that because it's making it a little bit uncomfortable.
I think that's also one of the downsides of English roads. Cars
Like here, it did it again. You see that? It just pulls the steering wheel to the right sometimes because it's confused about where the lines are. And again, it's kind of weird to experience that.
I guess we need to turn off the lane holders. Where was he going? I feel like I don't want to be a passenger right now. I just want to close my eyes.
Yeah, that's the roller coaster of the lanes. Nah, but even in sport, it's riding quite nicely, isn't it? And then you get to a village, you go into EP.
And you just...
Well, we've still got the engine running right now. I was wondering how...
How do you go in full EV?
There we go, it's gone to EV now. I guess it just needed a moment. But it's then using sounds inside to dampen the effect of it turning off. After a little bit of driving very peacefully and calmly, let's go back into noisy mode. There we go. Oh, you do notice that, don't you? There are so many cars on the road right now.
A lot of traffic.
This is normally...
Is it Easter break?
I'll say it's normally a pretty quiet place. It's really freaking fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's amazing how fast it is. I kind of want to put it in Corsa. I'm sorry to say. Oh no, we are in Corsa. Okay, well that's why it felt like I accidentally turned it all the way to Corsa.
I wouldn't want to go that accidentally. That was a good thing.
I just pulled it once too many, being blinded by the light. It's like, I hope that car doesn't overtake the cyclist right
For
there.
a second, it felt like he was going to.
Yeah. I always think cycling down roads like this is kind of my worst nightmare. Why would you want to cycle on a road where cars go past you at 60 miles per hour?
Yep.
That's narrow and they don't really see you. Ugh, just not my idea of fun. There are some great places to go cycling, but I really don't think this is one of them.
Oh my god, this is so narrow.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we were in Italy with the SF90, driving down that pass from Italy towards Switzerland for the ice, and we were stopped behind a bus because there was another bus or something? And
Yeah. Nobody could pass. It was around a corner where, because of the length of the buses, they couldn't do the rotation to get around. Yep, narrow. Narrow. How many cars are there going to be coming towards us?
A lot. Oh,
It's so busy these days. Like, it wasn't very long ago here in England I could come and drive on this road and film videos and have a car or two.
but we looked it up the other day, right? It's the number of cars on the road has almost doubled
In like 15 years or something.
Whereas in Germany it hasn't, which I think is
At the point I started driving, it was something like 20 million cars on the road, and now it's something like 40 million cars on the road. And I'm not that old. In fact, even in 10 years, I remember it's gone from 30 million to 40 million in 10 years. So versus 10 years ago, the roads have an additional 33% of traffic. And it's an interesting stat. You only need to add about 10% of traffic to the roads and you cause traffic jams.
Yep.
Like, it's less than you think. Pull away 10% of cars on the roads and you wouldn't have any traffic jams anywhere. Really interesting to research into that a little bit. This is really not
Oh
interesting.
my god.
Oh, it is chaos.
Oh.
I don't know why you would bring a full articulated lorry down a road like this.
I don't think he meant to be here.
Oh, I don't think you end up there by accident. I think you study your route before you set off and you know where you're going and there's no diversion. It's nothing like that. Right, foot down. Wow. Okay, that's where it excels.
I had to hold on.
Yeah, it's pretty quick, isn't it?
It's really quick.
Not unexpected, but I think the reality is in normal everyday driving, you don't do that. That's not a thing.
You don't?
You don't just stick at every roundabout and go full throttle, boom. Well, you might do when you're in a little hatchback and you're 17, but you don't do. You guys can't see the face behind the camera. Like,
Maybe they can see your sunglasses reflection.
yeah, maybe. Obviously, I'm going to go back to. Well, we're not going to go into the Sabbia, Terra, and Neve modes. We're going to go to Strada. So does Strada keep the engine running? Yeah, but obviously that's your hybrid mode. So will it at some point drop to auto or to hybrid? Maybe it needs to be in EV. I'm going to go to EV. Yeah, there we go. Isn't it?
Sorry. What did you want to say?
I was going to say, isn't it interesting how when the engine kicks off, you don't really hear the change? Especially not when you throw in a little bit of road noise and wind noise from driving at 70 miles an hour. And when the engine stops from Strada mode, which is so quiet with the exhaust valves closed, you don't even notice the engine stopping. Just go about business, right? Go about life. Just do what you do. We're down about a quarter of the battery, third of the battery now. It's pretty smooth. Like, it just works in the background.
Stupid question. You might want to cut this out of the video because I don't want to embarrass myself. But the STO had cylinder deactivation.
Yeah.
Does this one have it too, or does that then sort of replace it with the battery? And
I don't know if cars still have cylinder deactivation when they have hybrid, because if it's cutting the engine off entirely when it's coasting onto the electric, why would it bother cutting 4 of the cylinders off? It doesn't really make sense. So I don't know if it has it or not. Technically it could do, but I don't know if you would bother.
There's probably no benefit from it.
Yeah. Oh, there's a bit lethargic. Come on, there we go. It needs to give us the engine there. So that was in electric, and I just wanted a little bit more than the car was offering us. That was quite funny. I was waiting for it. I guess deciding what exactly I was going for, what I wanted from it. Is there a DBX there? Is that a DBX? That is a DBX. Did you see it?
Yeah.
There was a navy blue DBX. So on the topic of, I mean, we did go past an Aston dealer, but on the topic earlier of, again, just a little bit more power, on the topic of cars that can compete with the Purangusangue for that kind of trip, that very specific scenario. Funny to see a DBX while we're out driving. We got lucky with the lights there, that was good. Very good. Anyway, we'll head back on the motorway and take it easy. There's all of the farm noises right now.
Yeah, it smells like a farm too.
It definitely does. I figured we'd plug this in. So there's a lot of boxes and stuff in the way, but let's pop it there. So one of the big things with anything like this, right, is that it needs to be easy. If it's not easy, nobody's going to use it.
Never mind.
Thanks. This is nice.
It's quite...
What colour is this?
Arancio Aegon.
I like it. That's nice.
It's like Viola Bast with the sparkle that it has.
Yeah, I'm going to come around this way.
So
tell me about this car. Teach me real quick.
it's got the same battery as the Bentley.
Okay, so...
Right.
Okay.
Oops. Sorry. So it's the same 25.9 kilowatt hour, roughly 50 miles of range, electric system. It weighs about 2.5 tons.
Okay.
And it has the same feeling of that weight at the back.
Oh.
Like the same feeling.
Oh, that's a shame.
Interesting, because not a thing. I'm sure a blinking amber light is not the right light.
Oh, that made
Yeah,
noise.
green light looks good. I like the interior. I like how it
lovely.
looks. I like the updates.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because all the last time I spent time around the Urus, genuinely, was the launch, which we were both at, but we didn't know each other then.
Yeah.
And obviously all the controls and the different modes were right in the middle.
It's big upgrades since then. I like the new styling here, this pointed tail. I think it looks good. I think what the design team have done is great. It has soft close.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
I think it was just slower than I thought it was going to be.
And obviously a battery of this size, it's come in on about a quarter now. It's going to take what, I don't know, an hour or two to charge.
Something like that.
Something like that. It's not a particularly long wait.
Do you get the like Lamborghini factor of driving it though? The looks and the stairs. Obviously,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
bright, it's bold, it's meant to be.
There's definitely some of that, but probably not. I guess they've become quite regular on the roads.
Yeah.
You know,
do see
around
that.
here, this is no longer a particularly rare car, which sounds odd to say, but it's not that odd. Oh, look,
It's dropping.
suspension dropped. I mean, we just literally watched it go down 5 centimeters or something.
Air suspension.
Yeah, the
Fancy
adaptive
stuff.
suspension. It makes a huge difference between driving modes. So when you're in Corsa versus when you're in standard, there's a big change there. I think the interior is nice. You know, seats are way better than the STO seats,
Oh,
not
that's
gonna lie. Ad persona, I like the ad persona plaques. Obviously, this
Yeah,
is a
me
very
too.
high spec.
Close to the ceiling. Over a bump, I would probably hit my head.
We never opened the roof, but obviously this has the,
Full pan roof.
yeah, let's, nope, I thought if I turned it on, there we go.
There we go. It is rather nice back here though. Can I make the joke about the beeps again?
It makes a very familiar set of beeps.
Yeah. Pan roof.
Not hugely surprising. Well, it's not a full roof, is it? Because it's a sunroof.
Yeah, it is just
It's like a half and half roof.
Yep.
It's not like the Purangusangue's roof, which is the
No, I
full
was about to
top,
say, that's
or a
like-
Tesla or something.
That's just glass basically. Is it soft close on the rear?
Presumably, has to be.
Yeah, nice. The little things there.
It is.
Well,
But then what ends up happening is you close the door, and it's pulling it in, and then the person grabs it and pulls it out again because they don't realise it's got soft close,
Well, that's kind of what I just did over there.
Exactly.
I didn't realise.
and you're fighting against it.
It happens.
Yeah, it's cool. It's bright.
It looks good in here.
It's bold. I enjoyed driving it. We'll drive it again later when we've got it fully charged up, and just learn a little bit more about it.